Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Michaela and I'm ready to do with you a new pattern and I'm so excited about it. It's actually a triangle top pattern with a hoodie. Since the crop top pattern was such a success, I decided to make a new one, and obviously this is the second pattern which we'll be making with a hoodie. I've got here the pieces and I'm going to present them to you. So what I'm showing here actually is the hoodie construction, and this band comes in the middle also to construct the hoodie. And afterwards I've got here the triangle top, and also the surprise, it has a cowl neck looking like band, which makes it more special, of course. So yeah, as you see, I've cut here for my triangle top. I've got the lining in a neon color, and I'm actually using here a for the lining I'm using lycra fabric, and for the rest of the pattern I'm using this four-way stretch mesh. So it's like super light and stretchy. Of course you can use just lycra if you wish, but I would recommend definitely to be a four-way stretch, or at least a two-way stretch, but I want to say four ways much more recommendable. Okay, so as I'm presenting you the pieces over here, I also want to show you that I've decided to put here a small ring in the middle. You can have it or you cannot have it. This is really up to you. And of course, what I've got here, I've got my binding straps. I'm honest too, I didn't measure how much I like to cut. I like to have always enough, because measuring is not always a good idea, because you can do a mistake and then you have to recut it. So I always cut it quite enough. But also if you don't have a binding attachment, or if you think binding it takes too long, so I do have a video where I'm showing how to do with a binding strap, how to do it with a normal sew machine in the different ways, how to sew it. But if you do not have, and if you wish to use something easier and faster, you can always use this fold over elastic. So it's so good, so easy. You practically just fold it and sew it over. I always recommend doing it with a zigzag stitch, as you want it to stretch. For today I will not be using it, but I just wanted to show you that this is another way of creating this pattern. So first things first, I'm going to take actually my triangle pieces, right? And you see here that I've got these the triangles, right? They are not how can I say, they are not same, right? You do see that there is a small curve towards the center, and then down also one side is a little more curved. So obviously this would be in the breast area, in the center of the breast area. And what I'm going to do now, I am actually going to pin the lining to my mesh fabric, obviously because the mesh fabric otherwise would be too much see-through, right? So I'm going to pin it, and I'm going to do a basting stitch. Actually this is literally just so it's not see-through. I treat it as a normal lining. So actually what you're seeing here, I'm literally just pinning it all over, right? And then I'm going to do the basting stitch over, and in order to allow stretch, I'm going to make little cuts into the stitch. So the other side, I'm going to do both sides together. Obviously the other side I'm going to do it off camera. I'm going to put this, I'm going to set it aside. Also I want to show you the band for the cowl neck, right? You see I've cut it on fold, right? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to place it on top of each other, facing right side together. So what is inside here, this is my right side, in case it's not visual enough. And I'm going to be pinning it like this. And then I'm going to serge it. If you do not have a serger, you can always use your zigzag stitch. It's absolutely fine. I sometimes use my zigzag stitch, and usually I use a 3 width and 3 length for most of my projects. So I go for this kind of length and width, or 3.5 max. Okay, so like I've said, I've placed it facing right side together, and I pinned the longer part, the sides not. I'm setting it aside as well. And here I've got my hoodie piece, and I'm taking the center of my so the center band of the hoodie, and I'm going to be placing it on top like this, and I'm going to be pinning it all along the hoodie on the curved side. That is very important. So I will be pinning it on the curve bit like this. I'm using these pins actually, since obviously the mesh fabric is so slippery, and because of the holes my pins just fall through. So I'm just going all along, and it's really important that you're not trying to stretch the fabric in any way. You just simply pin it going along. Sometimes with the mesh fabric, I must say, it is tiny bit difficult not to stretch it because it's so soft and smooth and slippery practically. So yeah, it's important that you're not stretching it. I hope I didn't. All right, so like I said, I've pinned all around the curve. I will be serging it as well, and once I've serged this bit, right, I'm doing exactly the same thing, placing it facing the right side of the fabric, and I'm going to be serging it the other side, and then we already have the hoodie. So now I'm going to my sewing machine, and I'm going to show you what I mean by a basting stitch. Is really practically just a straight stitch with the highest stitch length, and it's actually very helpful so your fabric is not slippery through the through the serger. Sometimes the serger can be really slippery. So I'm going to show you just this small part. And as you can see, I am going slow because I do feel like the fabric is really slippery on my lining. So I don't want it to move. All right. So like I said, I'm doing this basting stitch, and then I am going to do these little cuts every few centimeters into the stitch, and you'll have to be very careful that you're not snipping through the fabric like I just did before, but it was a very small snip. This will allow to stretch, but if you feel like after serging you want to remove this thread, you can also remove it. It's absolutely not a problem. Okay, and on the other side I've got here my my cowl neck band, and actually I'm showing it but it's maybe not really necessary. I'm literally just serging it. I'm not doing a basting stitch. I'm a little bit lazy in this way, but since it's just the mesh fabric, I decide to simply just go for it. And as you can see, I'm really taking my time because I don't want my fabric to move. All right, I've pulled it a little too much. I realized it when I finished and it got stretched. Okay, so as you can see, I've got here my cowl neck band already serged, right? And now what I'm going to do, I am going to finish doing the basting stitch on my both triangles, and I'm going to serge the center band for my hoodie. Once I'm done, I'll come back and show you the next step. Okay, so I am back and I think my camera is just falling. I am back. Let me just check everything is all right. Yes, I've did all the parts I've been telling you that I was going to do. The hoodie is here and is prepared. The cowl neck band is also serged and is prepared, and actually this will be the first thing which we would work on now. So I'm going to turn it on the right side of the fabric, and first thing I am going to do a basting stitch or a straight stitch to each side, but I'm going to show you actually just one side, right? So I am going to, this is just to secure the two layers together because I don't want it to be slippery. So I'm just doing this basting stitch over, because we will connect it with our triangle top. So obviously I don't want it to be slippery when I will be stitching it. So like before, I'm doing these little cuts through it, and whoops. And then next thing what I'm going to do, and I want you to remember, you would want the non-stitched side to be up and the serged side to be down, right? And here I've got one of my tops. You have to make sure that you will always know which is your right and left, right? So I'm always looking at the curve in the center, right? So now I'm actually just placing it on top of my top practically, and first I will be doing a basting stitch. You can pin it first if you wish. I'm a little bit lazy for the timing purpose. I will choose not to, but I will be very careful to make sure that nothing is stretched, and I'm guiding the fabric just. So in case you do not want to be like doing a lot of basting stitches, obviously you can actually just go ahead and serge it, but to me it's really important that they are placed symmetrical and not moving around. So I prefer to spend this little extra time in order to not have my fabric being slippery or whatsoever. So like before, I'm doing these little cuts into the stitch, and now I'm going to my serger and I'm going to serge it. Of course, serging it, it's so much easier. Once the basting stitch has been done, and here it is. I've got it over here. Like I said, right, the cowl neck will have this is the upper part, and this is my serged part, which will be down. All right, so now the next thing, what I'm going to do, I am going to do my binding, and I will prepare first. Actually, no, I'll prepare it with you. I will show you in case you do have a binder. You can use a binder to practically any sew, obviously any cover stitch machine. So yeah, like I'm for this binding, I'm actually not using any elastic, right? I'm just using my binding strap, which I've cut it against the grain. This is really important when you're using a binding attachment, that you cut the fabric against the grain. Why? Because otherwise it will be very slippery and it will slide everywhere. So I'm doing always a few stitches in order to make sure that that it's catching good the fabric. And here is my top. Obviously this is the curved, which will be the center of the bust, right? And this will be the side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to practically bind this band over here. I'm going to bind it, and here I will stop, and then I will make a longer strap, which will be to attach it to the back, right? So I'm going to make sure that I've got absolutely no so I wanted to say that actually catching the fabric sometimes can be, say, the trickiest part. Once you've done it, everything goes smoother. And what I'm doing, I'm always actually slightly pulling the binding strap, and only a little bit, right? I want to make sure that it's not waving, right? This is the reason why I actually do it. And here, when I reach to this point, what I'm going to do, I'm going to release the fabric like this, and then I do this long strap to tie it to my back. The strap should be around 70 centimeters, I would say. So you see, I just did it until here, and here will be loose and will be used to attach to the back. This is a bit of my binding stitch coming out. Sorry, my basting stitch coming out, which I'm removing. So now I want to measure my band first. So I'm going to take my meter and I'm going to measure my band and then cut it, the strap. So I don't think I had enough. I'm going That being said, that was the first part of the top, and now I'll be doing it off camera, the other side, right? So I will repeat exactly the same step of attaching my cowl neck band. I'll do the straight stitch, attach it to the top, and then do the binding. And in this time I will actually start from the down part and then go completely up, because obviously it would be mirror. So I will be using the same technique like before. Once I'm done, I'll come back to show you the next step. Okay, so I did a binding. Like I said, I started also from here, and I first obviously left the long strap, which will be to tie it in the back. So I did that first, and then I attached the rest of the binding, right? So now it starts to look like a really pretty top, right? I've got here obviously the top. And the next thing, what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to take my hoodie and I'm going to do the binding along the, like, would see upper side of it, right? Also, if you don't wish necessarily to do a binding on the thing, you can also just simply fold it inside and do a top stitch. But since I really like this fabric, this green fabric, which creates like a very nice color block, to be honest. I prefer to do the binding, but like I said, it's not a have to do it like me, for sure. You have different choices, right? So like you'll see, I'm pulling a little bit the binding, because I don't want it to be wavy, and I hope I can cut it with my really mission impossible. Okay, I managed. Okay, so I've got here the binding for the hoodie, right? And I'm going to trim it first. I've got here my helper Leo, which just woke up from a really long siesta, and he's actually waiting for some play and food, which he will get in no time. Okay, so I've got here the capucha, sorry, that's in Spanish, the hoodie, and I want to place it for you to see it as it's coming, because this is a bit of tricky part, right? So here would be obviously your head, yes, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to from the part of where it's stitched over here, I'm going to place it on top of my top, right? From this bit here, right, it will be placed on top of my top, and I will be doing a straight stitch to connect the hoodie with the top, and then will be one more, well, two more steps to go, practically the binding and the ring connection. So I've got here everything pinned. Like I said, I'm going to do just a straight stitch facing right sides of the fabric together. Okay. And actually for this you don't need to serge it, I just simply do this straight stitch, no serging, but I will be cutting a little bit into it. I'm just going to show you this bit, and then I am going to obviously do the binding. So like I said, I will be doing the little cuts in between. In order to allow stretch to my fabric after. So the connection is not until down, is from where the stitch with the hoodie would be, right, with the center band of the hoodie would be. That's your reference point. And I'm going to place one more time the top as it's going to be worn like that, so you can see the hoodie like this, right? I know it looks strange but when it's done, you will see it's not strange anymore. So that's the correct way of doing it, right? So now I'm going to actually do exactly the same thing with the other side. I'm going to be placing it over. I'm going to actually be pinning it with you so you have a better vision of it. I will go slow for these steps until you understand it, right? Please do not rush. So facing right side of the fabric together. Like this. And now I want to show you practically how it is, right? So this is how it's looking. The last step will be actually doing the binding all along of what would actually be the back of the hoodie, right? So I will be starting from this side, obviously, and I would leave a small tail, let's just say. So I would leave a little bit, a few centimeters, just so I have it to connect my little ring, right? So I leave it a few centimeters, 3 fingers, let's say. Better to leave a little more than a little less, right? And I would be going all around the back like this until the front. So the idea is that you're not getting the obviously the cowl neck part. You will get it here in the center. I will do this straight stitch off camera, and then I will do the binding together with you on camera. Okay, so I've got now my top with the hoodie prepared, right? That will be the right side looking at it. Whenever I'm doing things which I'm not really sure how they should go, well, I am sure, but in case you would not be, I always recommend to place it always like you would be mirroring wearing it, right? So then you have a clear vision, right? Okay, so I've got here the top. Like I said, I'm going to start with this side of the binding, okay? And you will not go over this, you will go behind it, right? So I'm going to take this piece like that and I'm going to my cover stitch machine. Like I said, you can use always your your fold over elastic. And like I said, I'm slightly pulling. Even if you don't have a cover stitch machine, you should also pulling it with your fold over elastic. So this is the secret of not creating a wavy binding, like I would say, right? So now I'm coming back to my front of the top, and whenever you see this part coming up, this is the last thing. You will actually cover stitch it, and then you just simply move it out of it. And like I said, I'm going to leave quite a little bit of strap, and I'm just being so lazy to not go for my scissors. Sorry. All right, top is almost ready. I'm so excited. Here we have our top, and it's looking very beautiful. And I've got here like these little straps, which I said to you. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a space, really not too much. I want to say just tiny bit on the ring there, so I can sew it comfortably, right? Like this. I'm going to leave a tiny bit more, like that. So I'm just simply doing a straight stitch. My stitch length is on 3. And I like to go over a few times in order to be obviously well secured. Now I'm going to trim it, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, like this. So I'm taking the strap, bring it through the ring, and I'm going to make sure that is the same distance in between. And in case your sewing machine is a bit, let's just say, finicky with a little bit thicker straps, I do recommend you to use a hump jumper, I think it's called. I always laugh because it's such a funny word. It's literally this piece of plastic which you place it under your foot from behind, and then you just simply lower the foot and you stitch. Once the foot is moving, it's obviously throwing immediately the hump jumper off, and that makes the life much easier to do thicker fabrics. My sewing machine does not have always problems. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but overall not. So the top is ready. I am so excited. I just wanted to show it to you how it's looking like. So beautiful. I've got here the band in the back, and it will come also with a skirt, as of a nice beautiful mini skirt, wavy mini skirt, and shorts underneath. So if you have any questions, I hope you enjoyed this project. If you have any questions, please feel free to write me. I'm always happy to help you. Happy sewing.